Welcome to another episode of Battling with Bourbon. I am your host, Rockstar Johnny Nye.
And I'm your host, the real effing deal, the whole effing show, Mike Verdusco. And on today's edition of Fresh Crack Friday, what do we have?
We got a Baker's 13-year-old single barrel.
How many years?
13!
That's crazy. I thought there were only 7.
Not today.
Not today, baby. What we have here is 77, 13, 10. So 77% corn, 13% rye, 10% barley. Typically aged at a 7-year for Baker's. This one's a little special at coming in at 13. Still coming in at 107 proof. They put a nice little tag over here. The Baker's Beam pays homage to the grandson of Jim Beam. So it's actually a single barrel program is the way they do it over here.
And they use char number 4 barrels for this particular release. Jim Beam is, for that mash bill, is also the same mash bill as Knob Creek, if you were wondering.
Nice. So we're going to give it a whirl.
Let's do a fresh crack on this guy.
Now let's see if there's a real cork. Traditionally, Jim Beam doesn't use real corks.
Negative.
And negative. Still no real cork.
Still full cork.
You saw our Black Saddle 12 taste test a couple weeks ago, or our fresh crack a couple weeks ago. So, we didn't say it on camera, but I'm just going to go ahead and say it. I firmly believe that Baker's is a Jim Beam product. It smells like Jim Beam, and I was impressed that they actually used a real cork. That Black Saddle was actually bottled over in California. But we're going to see what this Baker's 13 is about today. Shaking and baking, baby. Shaking and baking.
All right.
On the nose.
Traditionally, I really like a nice 13-year-old bourbon.
And I'm not going to lie, ever since I went to the Jim Beam Distillery, I've been a much bigger fan of their product.
Me too.
For the most part, I've only ever had Jim Beam, and let's be honest, guys, the Jim Beam entry-level stuff, it sucks. It's not good. It's for mixers. So I had no idea at the time that they owned Basil Hayden, Knob Creek. I go to this tour to the distillery. Next thing you know, this guy's baptizing me in bourbon. He's literally rolling a barrel of bourbon. I'm getting drenched. Blah.
Yeah, it was quite the experience. If you guys ever get a chance to get to the Jim Beam Distillery to do that tour, it's a lot of fun. It really will change your opinion on the brand itself. And Baker's is traditionally my favorite expression from Jim Beam. So I'm really, really excited to taste that 13-year-old.
It's got some nice legs.
It does.
You guys know I like the nice legs.
Yeah, that's really good.
Good color to it. I like that color.
It's very nice.
Not as oaky on the nose as some of the wild turkey product I've been smelling that's typically aged up there in the 13.
I agree.
Also not as oaky as the cellar aged that we just reviewed a little bit ago. But definitely still in there.
Yeah, it definitely still has a nice oak characteristic on the nose, but yeah, I agree. It's not nearly the caliber, though.
Now, they actually do tell you, too, guys, when you open this, you're going to get a little ethanol on the nose. You're supposed to let it sit for about 10 minutes, and they actually say that 100% of that ethanol dissipates. But it wouldn't be Fresh Crack Friday if you guys didn't see us actually fresh crack it.
That's true.
So we got a program to stick to, right?
I know a lot of other people crack it and pour it ahead of time, and they call it a fresh crack.
But it's not so fresh.
It's not real fresh.
It's like leftover crack.
Yeah, I think there may have been one time that we had to reshoot the beginning that we might have done that, but that was still fresh crack. I don't know. I do like the nose on this.
I do love the nose on this.
It's really, really nice.
And they are right. The longer you let it sit, the more that ethanol is going to dissipate. I've taken a few whiffs while we've been filming. It gets better and better each whiff. The
more I'm, kind of swirling this in the glass, the better the nose is getting. The more the oak is coming from.
Correct. Yeah, more of the oak. Yeah, I'm getting more oak than baking spice for sure on this.
Yeah.
Not so much honey, not so much caramels. You guys know I love the honey and the caramels. I'm always quick to say I smell honey, I smell caramel, I smell vanilla. I'm not getting a big pungent amount of that, and Johnny's right. The longer you let this swirl around, more of that oak is coming out. So I'm gonna give it a little chew.
Are you getting the beam nuttiness on the nose?
No, I'm not
either.
I'm not getting the beam nuttiness.
Not offhand. I'm not either. But let's give it a chew.
This is fantastic.
This is really good.
Not gonna lie, I get a little bit of that cherry flavor that I get from the old Granddad 114 on the palate.
There's a nice cherry flavor in this.
And there was no cherry on the nose, so that's pretty cool.
That is really weird. That There's no cherry on the nose. None.
Yeah.
I didn't really get any fruitiness on the nose.
No fruitiness on the nose. I always think it's a psychedelic when I smell one thing and taste another thing. It's like, whoa, what the hell's going on here?
Yeah, but that is it's not as I guess as pungent as like a cherry note in the Wild Turkey Master's Keep 17-year bottled bond. Like that's very, very much cherry. Or like certain releases of Elijah Craig Barrel Proof have a lot of cherry. This is not quite the cherry.
Correct,
but it's
not
kinda
quite
like
the
a
cherry.
Dark cherry.
Yeah.
Like a nice dark cherry.
Yeah, not a Macchiato cherry. Nice dark cherry.
No, it's a very nice
Stone fruit. You know, it's
dark
technically still
cherry.
stone fruit. It's got a pit. You know, so if you wanted to say stone fruit, you wouldn't be far off. And coming back to the nose, now I'm getting more of those sweet characteristics that I do like.
Yeah.
I'm getting a little bit of that vanilla pulling through.
Yep. Yeah, and there's more caramels and vanillas coming through on the nose the more this is open. But the palate it's like oak and cherry. It's like a vanilla on the end.
Yeah. I like it. Almost like a cherry vanilla combo.
Yeah.
Because you're getting cherry on the palate, but you're getting vanilla on the nose.
And I'm not getting any nuttiness from this.
No nuttiness.
It's very odd to not get a nuttiness
Very odd.
at all.
Guys, when I started off saying how I was talking about Beam and the Black Saddle is probably Beam's juice inside there.
It is.
One of the sole purposes, or one of the sole notions I used to say that was I tasted a lot of that nuttiness that Beam has to offer in that Black Saddle.
Especially on the finish.
Yeah, especially on the finish.
Especially on the finish. Like when you actually, the Black Saddle has a lot of cherry in it.
Yeah.
But it's on the palate, but then once you get to the finish, it has that Beam nuttiness that leaves in your tongue and on your palate.
Yeah, this is cherry on the finish all day, guys. Cherry on the finish.
This is really good.
I don't mix normally, but I'm also not a fan of mixing. You know, some people say, "Why are you watering down your bourbon?" I say, "I'm not. I'm bourboning down my pop, or I'm bourboning down my lemonade." So there's days where I drink this neat, and there's days where I just want a lemonade, and I might put a splash of this in my lemonade, and I don't consider that bourbon and watering down my bourbon. I consider that bourboning down my lemonade. But what I was getting at is I know Jack and Coke go well together, but this might be a good mix with a cherry Pepsi.
Oh yeah.
You know, you put a little of this in there with a
Maybe
cherry
Pepsi Phil.
Pepsi Phil, yeah.
You know,
Get Pepsi Phil off the wagon or on the wagon.
I don't think Pepsi Phil would try it, but he might accept the Pepsi part.
Yeah. Oh man.
I like this a lot.
I get the oaky characteristics. I get the cherry characteristics. I get the sugar on the nose. This is definitely a win for me. 3 thumbs up for sure.
Absolutely. 3 thumbs up all day. It's got a nice lingering finish. I'm still going through the finish right now, and I feel like it's going to continue if I stop drinking this for a long time.
For sure. For sure.
It's really nice. And it's not a finish that like hits you in the Kentucky hug where it's like, oh, getting the acid reflex. It's just a nice finish of flavor.
Yep.
It's really nice. Well,
give it a woo! Got 6 thumbs up from us today.
Absolutely. This is wonderful. I'm so glad that I got a couple bottles of this now. It's a win. It's a win from us.
Delicious.
And you know what? For next time, it's the Fresh Crack Friday with Battling with Bourbon. We'll see you next time.
See you next time.